What factors determine the price of Bitcoin? The price of Bitcoin BTC is a topic of great interest, and more so when considering that in November 2021 it reached a new all-time high, surpassing $68,000 USD. But you may be wondering, what are the factors that determine its price? Bitcoin is a decentralized currency, and its value depends on supply and demand, which we'll explain in detail below. Now, there are other factors that also play a role. To understand how the price of Bitcoin is determined, let's first analyze some key details about how the network works. Supply and demand, a key factor. Just like other assets, the price of Bitcoin is regulated by the law of supply and demand. In simple terms, the higher the demand, the higher the price, and the reverse also applies. Demand is the amount of goods and services that consumers wish to purchase at any given time. Supply, on the other hand, is the quantity of goods and services that are available for purchase in the market. Thus, the market regulates itself. Everyone who participates in the buying and selling of Bitcoin determines, to a certain extent, its value. Thus, its price will depend on how much users are willing to pay. This can be clearly perceived on trading platforms, where a person proposes a price, and if the counterparty accepts it, the transaction takes place. Government measures. Although Bitcoin is a currency that does not depend on any government due to its decentralized nature, its price is vulnerable to government measures that directly affect it. This was the case in China when it announced in May 2021 a series of restrictions to curb cryptocurrency mining. As shown in the report by Coinmetrics, the price went from USD 45,000 to USD 30,000 a few days after the Chinese government's announcement. These measures not only influenced the confidence of BTC of investors and users in general, but also caused a drop in the hash rate due to the deficit of miners connected to the network. All this caused the price to plummet due to reduced demand and increased supply. In other words, in the face of uncertainty, there were more people selling BTC than buying. Government measures can also boost the price of BTC caused by increased demand. An example of this was the adoption of Bitcoin as a legal currency in El Salvador. The more governments recognize the potential behind the cryptocurrency, the better its reputation and therefore its price increases. Reputation and utility. Why has the price of Bitcoin varied so much over time? One reason is that its popularity has increased, so more and more people manage to see the potential behind the cryptocurrency that has revolutionized the current financial system. That contributes to an increase in demand and a reduction in supply, which translates into a price increase. The reduction of supply, or the amount of BTC available for purchase, is due to more and more people and entities deciding to hold Bitcoins, a term known as HODL. Holding the cryptocurrency has become one of the most common forms of long-term investment among Bitcoiners as its value has been realized. In 2010, the value of BTC did not even reach $1, as most still did not perceive the usefulness of the currency and doubted its safety, acceptance, and efficiency. Today, the picture is very different. With the price of Bitcoin exceeding USD 20,000 at the time of writing, more and more people are making use of this digital asset every day. In 2011, with the arrival of Silk Road, the first website to accept Bitcoin, the popularity of cryptocurrency skyrocketed, and with that, its price. However, in 2013, the company was seized by the FBI due to illegal activities on the website, such as the buying and selling of drugs. Again, this event impacted the price of Bitcoin, but this time negatively due to the fact that the currency began to be associated with illicit activities and demand was reduced. Opinion of influential figures. The opinion of big businessmen and influential figures in the ecosystem is also a factor that influences supply and demand, and by extension, price. A clear example of this is Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla. In March of last year, Musk announced that the company would accept Bitcoin as a means of payment. As a result, the price went from USD 46,000 at the end of February to a new high of USD 61,000 on March 13th, according to CoinMarketCap data. Interestingly, a few months later, on May 12th, Musk decided that his company would no longer accept Bitcoin, claiming that mining is harmful to the environment. That same day, the price of BTC dropped drastically from USD 57,000 to USD 49,000. This is just one case that demonstrates the power that some people people have over the cryptocurrency market and is related to the previous point, people's reputation and trust in Bitcoin. External events. There are events that are not directly related to BTC but still affect its supply and demand. That is what happened in March 2020 when the COVID-19 pandemic was declared. This event had a strong negative impact on the global economy, and Bitcoin was no exception. On March 15, 2020, the currency was worth only $5,000 USD, according to CoinMarketCap data. In times of crisis, people tend to seek refuge in fiat currencies, leaving aside what they do not consider to be an asset that provides immediate liquidity. As a result, demand fell and supply grew. So who controls the price of Bitcoin? Here's a short answer: the market itself. Through supply and demand, the price of Bitcoin is determined. The higher the demand and the lower the supply, the higher the perceived value. Now, other factors also play a role, such as government measures, external events, perceived reputation and usefulness, trust, and the opinion of influential figures in the ecosystem. Thus, being a decentralized currency, Bitcoin is not controlled by government entities. So, it is the people who, in a way, decide its value based on multiple aspects. This can be seen in exchanges where the value of an asset depends on the price of the buyer is willing to pay and the price the seller is willing to accept.